Is it on? By the way, my dad's famous.
That's right. Super famous. I've heard a lot of bad things about PVC bows. I still make them, and I just wanted to let you know from 2015 in the winter, I took this baby out. It's a 25-pound, 3/4 inch PVC pipe bow, and I was able to take out 1 rabbit and 2 squirrels. And it drives me a little bit crazy when people say you can't use this for hunting. I've proven them wrong. I wanted to make a bow though that was a little bit stronger, so here's my attempt and my creation of a 40-pound PVC bow for hunting, of course. So to make this bow, we're just going to use a few basic tools just to do the shaping. First off, we just need a piece of PVC. In this case, I'm using a 3/4 inch PVC conduit. This is a gray conduit which is used for electrical, passing through electrical wires outdoors, for example. 2x4 and my heat gun. You want to heat it up to the point where you can squish it pretty easy. Now, careful, it's pretty hot, but just for touching it briefly. You want it to be as squishy as possible. Lay it as straight as you can. And take your board. And then you hold it till it dries, until it cools. Okay, and then we sight down the limb. It's still a bit warm, but we want to make sure it's straight as it can be. Okay, so it's not pretty good. It's pretty good. You can see how flat it is down there. So I just used the 2x4 as a guide for the amount that I'm going to be heating up, and this is just to work on the limb tips. And once it's heated up, it actually expands back into its original form. What I do is I take that 2x4 and squish it down on the end and get that nice crease there and add a little bit of a recurve in there. This is pretty much the same concept as the backyard bowyer does. Well, it is the same. I'm pretty much copying him as I always have. His designs are proven, they work well, they're pretty simple, and they're reproducible, which is the important thing. There it is. Cut off. Just gotta sand it up. Now, keep it on the low setting because, well, if you put it on the highest setting, you're gonna melt the plastic and it sticks to itself. So, down one of the lowest settings, and it works great. This isn't absolutely necessary to use a Dremel, but it's faster for me. You could just use sandpaper or a file. So this is it. Now, heat up the handle. 2x4 on here, squish it down, but again, you can't squish it down flat, or else what happens is it just has too much flex side to side. I am going to do my technique where I kind of reinforce this part with another PVC piece that will wrap around, give a little bit more weight to the center of the bow, and a little bit more, I don't know, more of a comfortable grip instead of this really small grip. And then I shoot off. I'm going to make a little small shelf right here. So I got this 1-inch piece of PVC that will wrap around the handle, and I'm going to make an arrow rest out of this. But first I have to heat it up. I flattened it before for another bow, but this is an excess piece, so I got to open it up. Once it's heated up and nice and soft, I actually use some tin snips to cut this. Once it's hot, tin snips or even scissors will cut it like butter. And this is where I'm making the cutout for the arrow rest. So that's all glued up. Now it's still got to be hot when you put it on here, and the heat from the actual piece will melt the hot glue that was already on there. And you got to bend that arrow rest down and hold it into position until it cools. And as I wait for things to cool, I get to look at this bird. Just use some hot glue to fill in the gaps and secure it into place. So there it is there. A lot smoothed out. Still, it's pretty rough, so I got to use some finer sandpaper and go in there and do that. Now, the rest of it I'm filling in with some hot glue and then wrapping it with a leather handle once I painted it. And yeah, it's pretty much ready to go. Now I just got to cut my nocks out. So what I use to cut my nocks is just a chainsaw file. It's actually very, very smooth. I always set up a little bit of a practice string or a test string, so it's just a bit of a poly rope that I put on, and I just get to see how it shoots as well, and what the tiller's like. If you need to make any changes, the PVC will heat it. You can heat it up again and change the tiller up a little bit more. Test how it shoots. Now it's time for a permanent string, and I use this jig to make up my strings. You could make a homemade jig. There's a lot of online tutorials, and I like to use this bowstring. It's a nice polyester bowstring, works really well, and I'm going to try about 14 strands on this bow. Now it's time to serve it up. I use this serving tool. And I can't remember, I think I'm just using a regular polyester serving string. Nothing fancy, no spectre or anything like that. Well, string's done. It came out a touch shorter than I wanted it, so the brace height was a little bit bigger. But that's fine. If I find it's shooting odd or it's not shooting well, I can always make it slightly long. And this is the paint I'm using. Usually it's a Rust-Oleum paint, and I just spray paint it and let it dry for a few days. I see lots of leather couches at the side of the road in the garbage, and these are the free pieces of leather. Well, this is the finished bow, all painted up and strung up. Leather handle wrapped around it, just hot glued on actually. And yeah, that's it. And on the front, on the arrow rest, I've just put on some black Velcro, and keeps it nice and silent. While I was shooting, I didn't notice this nice little bunny that's here. I don't know if you can see it right there, but it's right there, and it'll take off in a minute. But yeah, it was weird. I was able to walk right by it, and it didn't even move. And I was shooting, and it didn't even move. Oh, missed opportunities. So I got this camel tape off of eBay for about $10, and it works really well. I think it looks alright. It definitely helps the bow to blend in. I wanted to show you the small game points that I use. Number one is this Zwicky judo point. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it. It won't stick into the ground and get lost. It does have closer to a field tip point, and it will penetrate your small game, especially in the softer tissues. The wires there that stick out will cause a bit of damage. It's pretty messy point, and it causes quite a bit of damage, so it's actually a good point to use. However, and surprisingly, my favorite point is just a simple blunt. And I got this from Lancaster Archery. I don't know what the name of this particular brand is, but I've seen many different versions like this. They're very inexpensive and highly effective. I thought, how is this going to fly in the air? It flies fine. It's a 100 grain tip, and the good thing is headshots, when I do get them, and I've gotten a fair bit on the squirrels or a couple on rabbits, and wow, they take them down in one little shot. It's not very messy at all. If you do miss, and say you get a nice hind quarter, right in the meat of the hind quarter, what I found is that the animal, yes, nice thump, you hear it thump and hit them, but they are able to get away, probably with just some bruising. But they're able to run away, run up the tree, or run away, and they don't seem worse for wear if you have a bad shot. With the Zwicky, however, judo, it will stick in and cause some blood, cause some damage, and it will stick in the animal as they're trying to run away. It's kind of gross. I don't really like it. So this is my go-to tip now. Yeah, so again, it's effective, it's not disgusting and dirty. With a nice stronger bow, I think it would penetrate and go through, but with the PVC bow, it seems to be the right match, where it will, if you have a good headshot, it'll knock them out, knock them down. Don't worry, I'm not taking any deer down. This is just going to be for a small game only. Although it pulls around 40 pounds, it's definitely not fast enough. Well, this fall, winter 2006, I'm taking this thing out for a little hunting, and if I do get anything, I'll keep you guys posted, and I'll try to get a video of it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.